Hello guys, Lit here. In this video, I want to share the strategy that I've been doing for the last few days. This is how I buy all my upgrades and all that stuff. And even after the nerf, I think the strategy is still pretty good, even though it can be very difficult to do. So the strategy is basically using Blightheart with Invigorations. So what Invigoration did, it's going to make the monster in your Blight empowered by your tower, and that will make them more difficult and more rewarding. So what we're going to do with this strategy is build as much empowering tower as possible and try to get as much overlap as possible. The more empowering tower affecting one monster, the more rewarding they will be, but also the more difficult they will be. They will be more tanky and they will hit harder. And the strategy I'm showcasing right now will be the easiest form. So we're not going to deal with any blight bosses. We're just going to deal with the non-unique, specifically the magic monster. That's what we're going to try to target on this farm. And furthermore, you're going to need a anointment on the ring, which is going to increase the range of the empowering tower. And to get that anointment, you will need Feather oil and black oil. And later on the video, I will also give an update on my previous Blightheart strategy because we got a nerf on T6.5, so I will lower the quality of the map and that will result in lower amount of item you're going to get. But first, let's begin with the setup for the Blightheart Invigorations. So for the maps, this is the map that I'm going to run, the map that have at least 100% currency, or if you have a map that have higher amount of quantity, so like 160, 170%, you can run those. It's not as good as 100% more currency, but you still get a decent amount of reward. As for the scarabs, I'm going to use one Blight Scarab of Blightheart and one Blight Scarab of Invigorations and one Scarab of Bloodlines. This is going to increase the magic power size by a lot. And the last two Scarab will be Cartographic Scarab of Corruptions and Cartographic Scarab of Escalations. This is how we sustain our map, and we do get a lot of map from this one. And for the map device, we're going to take quantity of item found map device. So for the other three, this is the other three that I'm using. We just take all the effect modifier, and then we take the quantity node on the middles. We take all the altars because we're going to clear out the maps to get as much altar as we can, and then we do the blight at the end. And we have the blight chance here, and that's the reason why we can have the quantity of item found on the map device. The rest of them is just a scarabs node because we do get a decent amount of scarabs, but we just mainly trying to focus on like the containment because it is the most expensive one. So that's basically the setup, and next let's move into the result. So for the cost of the maps, we are having a little bit higher cost compared to like the old Blightheart. The map cost is 0.3 divine per maps. For the loot itself, we get a lot of divine, like we get 15 divine orbs, we get annulment, exalted and all that stuff. We get almost 600 chaos orbs, so there's a lot of currency, a lot of jewel orbs, a lot of fusing, and we also get quite a lot of the at this currency. Although this one is very unlucky, we got like 8 exalted, which is like the worst one. The chaos and the annulment worth a lot more. And we also get like 5 Faldo, which is pretty low. I expect something like 10 Faldo for this kind of maps. Maybe because not all my maps have the more currency. Usually if you have like a map with 100% currency, it's very likely you go home with like at least 1 divine or 1 Faldo. And for the map, we got quite a lot of map, and in this strategy you do get a lot of them. So for T17 we got 42, and for the T16.58 mod we got 57. So from 20 map we get 57 maps, so it's pretty good sustain. And we also got Scarab, we got like 2 containments. The Scarab is not too big of a deal, but you still get decent amount of them, and you're not seeing that much on the Scarab because I basically filtered most of them out from my item filter because Scarab at the mid to the end league, most of them doesn't really have any price anymore because the meta usually already set. So only the Scarab that been used, they're going to have some decent price. Every other Scarab that not being used is usually just 3 to 1 on vendor, just gamble them, maybe you get a good one, something like that. So yeah, for the total we got 50 divine, and after cutting the cost we got like 43.9. My map is around 5 minute average. Sometimes it can be a bit longer, sometimes a bit shorter. It depends on the blight itself, and it really depends on the modifier on the map itself. So with the 5 minute per maps, so it's like 12 map per hours, we are at 26 divine per hour. So 26 divine per hour I think is still a pretty good amount of currency. It's still around like 2 divine per map, so I will say this is a pretty good after the nerf. And the next one is the update to the Blightheart. So this is the update to the Blightheart. I do another 20 tests. I do change the setup a little bit, so instead of Nemesis I'm now using whips. And this is because I do few test run after the video, and I just found that the whips is a little bit better, not too much, but it's a little bit better. We do have like a bigger jackpot, something like that. And we are also going to focus on currency. The map is still really low because this is a very low budget strategy. And we still add 21 divine per hour, which is, I think, is not bad. I mean, this one is get a little bit lucky. I got like 13 divine. This is definitely on the top of the average, but even if we say like you get like 9, it's still like pretty close to 20 divine per hour, right? So I still think the result is still pretty good. This strategy is a lot easier to do than the other one, that with the invigoration. The invigoration is really, really difficult to do. But the Blightheart, because this one we still can use tower, the strategy is a lot easier to do, but the currency is also a little bit less. So both of the strategy is still pretty good. That's basically everything that I want to share with you today. The update for the Blightheart and the new strategy Blightheart that I'm doing with invigorations, which I think is a very fun strategy if you have a very good character, if you have a very strong build. If you do not have a strong character, I really highly suggest not doing that. Just doing the normal Blightheart is still a pretty good currency. The currency difference is not that much, it's just on the invigoration part, the ceiling is a lot higher. And if you're willing to like put in a better map in there, which if you self-farm your own map with the setup that I'm showing you right now, you're going to get the juicy map, because that kind of map is still able to drop. It's just not a drop as often as before. So the invigoration part basically is just more difficult strategy, but it have a lot higher ceiling. And it does give a lot more return in general. So that's all I have for you today. If you guys have any questions, as usual, leave it in the comment below. I will try my best to answer it. So thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you in the next one.